Access software-defined radios from all over the world and sharing your own. All that and more this time on Hak5. This episode of Hak5 is brought to you by Domain.com.
Hello and welcome to Hak5. My name is Darren Kitchen.
Hello, my name is Shannon Morse.
It's your weekly dose of Technolust.
Welcome to our ever so sparkly show.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're decking the halls. We got golden pineapples
There's
back
some
here.
tinsel. Did you know tinsel originated maybe from a spider web on a Christmas tree?
No.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Did you know that Christmas trees originated from the Hallmark Corporation? No, I'm making stuff
No, they
up
didn't.
now.
That was way back in the day.
That's a totally different podcast.
It
You
is.
guys tuned in because we are having fun with bits.
Yes, we are.
This is the really fun thing about where computers just make everything better. As we know already, software-defined radio is awesome, and basically because I would say
everything is cool.
no.
Oh, sorry.
Solo.
That's the only part I know.
Why do we not have a Kirby cam?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Why don't we have it? See, fail. We fail as podcasters. But you know what we don't fail as? Software-defined radio tinkerers. Basically, computers and networks make everything better, including with software-defined radios, because turning waveforms into bits means that we can do with them the same thing we do with all the bits, and that is share the love.
Share the bits.
And that is exactly what HA7ILM did with SDR.HU.
That sounds like a call sign.
I'm going to assume that would be Hotel Alpha 7 Indigo Lima
Mike.
Thank you. I think it's Mike too. Anyway, this developer created this to help popularize software-defined radios.
Cool.
And I know that this is something that you've been doing a lot. Do you mind if I borrow this, Kirby? Is that okay?
Kirby's like, excuse me.
She's like, no.
Yeah, the
With
little
these.
rtl-sdr. So that's the little $20 dongle that we've been using for ages to do lots of SDR practice. And yeah, you can do a ton of things with it, and it's incredibly inexpensive, so why not? So it turns out this SDR.HU, that H17 ILM guy he created, it's free, and it allows anybody to experiment with SDR without even needing to actually buy their own radio. You can just tap into like a wealth of radios all across the world and listen to radio stations
it's really
in the
cool.
Netherlands if you wanted to.
It's open source, it's a web service,
Yeah.
and you know, it's like $20 cheaper than buying a $20 radio. I think we can give an example. There's one that's listed here from, and I'll just go ahead and pull this guy up. This is PAG3GWH. It's a receiver, and let that guy pull up. And this is actually from, whoops, let me turn down the volume.
Gotta love that sound.
Oh, yes. But this is actually an upconverted rtl-sdr that's in the historic Voorburg, Netherlands. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but it's right next to Den Haag, or Den Haag, or the Hague. I'm pronouncing everything wrong. But you know what? Shout out to RevSpace and Technologica Incognita, two awesome hacker spaces in the area.
Cool.
Ain't no hackers like a Netherlands hacker, because a Netherlands hacker got a hack. Hack. I'm sorry, I'm just messing everything up. But this particular radio, really cool. I now am tuned into a 30-meter band radio in the Netherlands.
Oh, yay, math.
Yeah, because as we remember, that's just, the frequency is just C, or the speed of light, divided by lambda.
I'm glad you remember that.
Right.
I don't.
You basically, all you have to do is you take 299,792,458 meters per second, and then you divide that by the wavelength in meters, and then, you know, in this case that's 30, and then you're going to get your frequency in hertz, which is like how many times per second. In this case, it's like 10 megahertz, or, well, it's shortwave. There's another way to do this, I think.
Yeah, you Google it.
You could do that.
Just find a converter and let it do it for you.
Yes.
because I like the easy route. All right, so I'll go ahead and show you the interface online. So you just go over to sdr.hu and you click on receivers and you get a list of the ones that are currently online. Not many online at the moment, but we can just simply click on one. I believe this is the same one that you clicked on, but I'll go ahead and show you a little bit about how to use it to just listen in. So you get your frequencies at the top, a nice little band of those, and then you get your waterfall down below. If you want to zoom in on a frequency, you can just scroll in and out, and that'll maximize or minimize your frequency. So I'll zoom back out now. And up here, you can click on the receiver name. So I'll click up here to see more information about it. So if they've included, in this case, they included the name of, or the buildings that the pictures are depicting in the background.
Right, and we've seen some that are like in the Ukraine and
yes,
all over the place, so it's just pretty cool.
Thoroughly enjoy your radio stations, by the way, Ukraine.
Yes.
Like there's ballet and I don't know, dude. It's the weirdest, coolest things. You can also find a couple of other additional details about it. There's a status log down at the bottom. This will show you how many clients are currently listening in. So there's two. One is Darren and one is me.
No.
And then you have audio stream, output, server CPU, audio buffer, and network usage. And then you also have a log, which can appear up at the down at the bottom as well, and this will show you if it's connected, if there's any issues, and what kind of sample rate you're currently listening in on. And you also have your receiver specs. So I'm currently listening in at 10.141 megahertz, and I can choose FM, or I can change over to AM, LSB, USB, or CW, and that's about it. So it's very, very simple and really easy to use.
Right, and I should just say, now that while this is really awesome, what's so beautiful here is if you already have your own software-defined radio, you can actually share it with this web service using OpenWebRX.
Yes!
Yes, it's awesome.
Okay, so tell me how to do this.
Okay, so basically what you need to do is you need to grab yourself the OpenWebRX software.
Okay.
It's open source. It's in a Git repository. I have it pulled up right here. And so you just go ahead and clone this from Simon's, I can't pronounce your last name, Simon.
Isaac?
I'm not going to try to butcher it, but Simon here is awesome and has developed some pretty cool code because it works in getting the software-defined radios up on the web, and that's a really rad feat. So
do you need any dependencies?
Yeah, I mean, it's Linux, so of course you do,
Yeah.
right? But it's actually not too bad. It's pretty easy, especially if you're on a Debian-based system like I am. It's mainly just a bunch of apt-get install foo, and it's probably stuff that you already have, things like build essentials. I know that you're going to need libusb, you're going to need libffw3, you obviously need git to git clone it, and make to do the making and all that stuff. But it's pretty simple. The only thing that's a little complicated, and I say complicated, I don't really mean complicated, but like you're going to need a copy of CSDR, and that is a very simple digital signal processing library that's also a command line tool that's used for software-defined radios. You can find that in Simon's Git repository as well, and that's a cool tool because you could use it in your own stuff to make more better awesome things. So grab yourself a copy of both of those, and making them is, well, it's really easy because there's a makefile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just grab the source, do a git clone, cd to the directory, make install, Bob's your uncle, or your mother's brother. So with that, if I should mention that if you're actually going to be using an rtl-sdr like we are in this case,
yeah,
there's a little caveat. There's a little bit of extra work involved. It's not too much. Basically, you need to do a little mod probe goodness. You need to add it to the blacklist for mod probe, and you need to unregister the kernel module in your current session. And basically, that's just doing that to make sure that nothing else is hooking into it, so that it has priority access to that device. There's a couple of nitty-gritty commands, but I'm just going to list a link to the quick start guide in the show notes so you can walk
so you do that all in the terminal?
Yeah, it's really simple.
Good.
It's just a couple of lines that you toss into bash.
Like, what?
Yeah. In fact, do I have that pulled up here? Yes, I do. It's right here.
Cool.
So this is it. I mean, you could pretty much copy and paste this into your terminal and hope for the best, but that's pretty much it.
Okay, so decently easy.
Yes. The actual configuration, though, even easier. I have to applaud this. I love config files that are well commented.
Yep.
This is not, it's a config file, but it's also a Python file. So again, you can think about how extensible this is.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example of just that. So let's see. Let me go over to OpenWebRX, and you'll see we have a config file here that's config_webrx.py. And yeah, okay, so we've got our server settings, and you know, this is, in my case, I'm just going to run this locally, so my server host is actually just going to go ahead and be localhost.
Okay.
But of course, if I were putting this on a domain, if I wanted to share this somewhere, I would want to have...
You would put it on some server.
Right, I would probably want to use like a dynamic DNS server or something like that, so people could actually access it. And again, like the normal settings, like, you know, the web server, it's, I don't know why, you know, it's port 8073, that's cool. But if you want, you can change that. Max clients is set to 20. Web GUI configuration. This is actually the part where we can put in all of that good stuff. I'm putting in Hak5 Darren and Point Richmond, and I've tuned mine to, I'm going to say it's 900 megahertz. We're using an rtl-sdr. Give it the email address. You can even give it GPS coordinates. Those aren't correct. Give it a title and all that stuff. And, you know, just like niceties so that anybody listening...
Nice little customizations.
Right, and what's beautiful about this is you don't actually necessarily have to share this with the sdr.hu folks. You can still use OpenWebRX if you just want to use it on your LAN with your friends, or put it on the internet with your own domain and not share it. But if you do want to share it, it's been made pretty easy. Okay. All you have to do is get yourself a key, and basically you go over here, register your device, you get an email, and then you just paste your basically API key up in there.
Oh, cool.
And then you'll be listed.
That's awesome.
Yeah. The rest of it is pretty much the DSP settings from the CSDR library that we talked about, and this is where you can set a couple of different FFT things, like the frames per second, stuff of that nature. Really, all of the stuff pertaining to your radio is down here, but we're actually talking about the IQ sources. We touched on that briefly with Mike Osmond when we were talking about like the raw radio data. It comes in a form called IQ that is slightly outside of the scope of this particular segment, but essentially it's the data from the radio that we're going to have as bits, and those are the bits that we're going to shovel up onto the web so that everybody else can enjoy it, and not just a WAV file, right? So with that, you can see that essentially, depending on what radio you use, you're going to uncomment different stuff. And these are the ones that are uncommented for me. And it's your start RTL command. And in my case, it's rtl-sdr TAC-S, and you set the sample rate, and the frequency rate, and the PPM, and all of that stuff. And actually, get this, it pipes it to Netcat.
Yes.
Locally on port 8888. So if you were to actually pull up Netcat on port 8888, or you know, you'd see just raw data coming through on port 8888.
That makes sense.
That's kind of fun. And then the rest of it is just the format and stuff. But if you actually dive into the rest of this, you may notice, you know, a couple of like.
I noticed something.
Oh yeah, there's the Hak5. And this is what's so awesome about well-documented code is, hey, if you're going to use a Hak5, you need to run this first. Cool. And you're going to need this thing, and you're going to need that thing, which is awesome. You can also do this with a sound card. If you're just using like a front end, a lot of people,
that's awesome.
Rather than an SDR, you can use your sound card as an SDR. Plug a radio into your sound card, and Bob's your uncle, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So these are the commands.
So cool.
You just uncomment these. So as long as you have a start RTL command and a format conversion command, then you're good to go. And so this has already been set up for the RTL-SDR, the Hak5, sound cards. You can do RTL-SDR with the RTL-TCP command as well. And I love that there's a actual test signal source. You could just pipe, get this, devu random, which is a pseudo-random number generator up in your Linux. You just grab some bits out of there. They're going to essentially be random. Yeah. Essentially. So anyway, if you wanted some noise. But anyway, so I just am pleased to see some really well-documented code.
Me too.
It's very exciting. It's very easy to configure. This is all, you know, out of the box for an RTL-SDR ready to go. And the developer was able to add support for example, the Hak5 in just moments. Just from what Mike Osmond explained to me when he was just down here, he was saying that the developer came up to him and was like, hey, can I borrow Hak5 to work on my project? And he's like, yeah, sure, here. And then he comes back like half hour later and is like, okay, so Hak5 now works with OpenWebRX. And it's
so
like,
awesome.
dude, rad!
That's so cool.
I'm sure we'll see more software-defined radios listed in here in the future. But anyway, with all of that configured, it's just a matter of running the program.
Okay, so you save it, and now you run the Python code?
Yep, we'll just do Python, and it's you can actually see it here, the executable file here, the OpenWebRX.py. And there we go, we have a TCP connection established, and I'm gonna go ahead and open a browser and head to localhost :8073, and there we go.
Cool.
And I could probably turn my volume up.
Awesome.
Yay, static!
Yay.
But that's pretty much it.
So that's the SDR that you're currently running right here.
Yeah.
Might help if it's sitting upwards.
Maybe. Let's take tech P 8.
That was weird.
Okay, so we have a ghost at the Hak5 studio, but you're welcome to join us at any of our open houses like we just had. Nobody was.
That was really weird.
Nobody was haunted, from what we understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not at that one.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for helping us donate to the EFF. For that.
We did raise a lot of money for that.
That was cool.
So that's pretty good stuff. Anyway, I'm just really excited to see this. This is the perfect example of a hack because it's libraries that exist, it's piping things to like Netcat, and it's ultimately making something that just works where you can contribute to it. And I mean, obviously I'm not gonna leave my laptop here set up with the rtl-sdr, but
one thing you could do, like if you could just run this on pretty much any Linux server, including a Raspberry Pi, I'm assuming.
Right, in fact, you just used a Raspberry Pi on one of your Patreon build videos for Tech Thing.
Yes.
So I mean, as you know, it's a perfect lightweight server. This isn't heavy lifting.
That would be perfect. So you could just set up your Raspberry Pi. You don't even need like a monitor or anything.
No.
You could just set it up with the rtl-sdr and let people log into it. I guess you would just need to change like what your port forwarding on your router and a DNS setting or two.
Yeah, set up a dynamic DNS or whatever, like most of the people up on this listing have done.
Yeah. So at this time of recording, there's only about 10 people that are sharing their rtl-sdrs on here, and they're not all necessarily online all the time, as you just saw. So I would love to see more people sharing their rtl-sdrs on here. It would be really cool to be able to listen into different stations across the globe. I mean, I think it's really cool that I'm able to like listen to ballet from the Ukraine.
How cool is that?
It's the most random thing, but I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah, it's like you can tune into like Russian number stations or something.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Although you could probably pick those up here anyway because they're on shortwave and the ionosphere, which is epic. By the way, have I told you how much I'm thankful for electromagnetism and Earth's molten core?
Right.
It's my favorite thing in the universe.
Hey, bouncing.
Hey, you know what? We should do that. We would need, maybe we can do it with the Hak5. I know that we can't with the rtl-sdr, but we should pick up some number stations. Let us know in the comments if that's the kind of stuff that you'd like to see, and we'll be back with those comments here in just a minute. But first, we're going to thank our awesome sponsor, Domain.com. If you've been watching Hak5 for a while, you know how much we love Domain.com. They are our go-to place to register all sorts of domains, and lately we've been having a lot of fun with a new top-level domain, and that is .club. Domain.com told us about it. We're very excited because so many amazing ideas are very club-related. You may not think so, but we must realize that, one, clubs are universally and globally understood. It's not just here in the US, and two, if you're building a new business or a startup, it's really a perfect name right now because it is like the ultimate social domain. And what is the internet if not about building community and collaboration? So you guys could all collaborate on a .club about how terrible my haircut is, or lack thereof. You could do that right now because it's a fantastic time to get yourself a .club. All you have to do is head over to domain.com/club and register one. They start at $9.99 a year. There's bajillions available already. And get this, just because you're a Hak5 viewer, you get to use the special coupon code HAK5. That saves you 15% off and lets Domain.com know all about it. And matter of fact, why don't you tweet at Domain.com and let them know how much you appreciate them supporting Hak5 for all these years. So when you think domain names, think Domain.com. I just want to say it's so much fun highlighting open source projects that are awesome, and I hope to see many, many more contributors, hopefully, because it's just so cool. Kirby likes it too. She's like, wow, this laptop's really warm when you get the software-defined radio thing going.
She's adorable. So we did get a viewer question. Like we mentioned, it's from Servant74. He says, do you guys design the electronics for Hackshop devices?
Yeah.
And yes, kind of. Most of, well, some.
This question is a little bit of a shameless plug, but at the same time, there's been so many new viewers lately that if you haven't been with Hak5 for the full 10-year span, one, you got a lot of catching up to do. Like, what have you been doing? Come on. Two,
don't mind that.
That's a that's a hack. You know what? We should have an entire show that's just all the hacks that make the studio happen, because let me tell you, this thing is hackerific. As many of the people that came to visit at the most recent open house determined when they toured the studio.
Yeah, very true.
Lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? We were talking about the shameless plug, which is the Hackshop devices, which is that if you're new to the show, you may not realize when we talk about, if you want to support us directly, hakshop.com, that's us. That's here in this warehouse, and that's actually the primary support for this show, and it's what allows us to bring this to you. So we are so thankful for everybody that does that. And yeah, we are the designers of the Wi-Fi Pineapple, of the Land Turtle, the USB Rubber Ducky. We've done other projects in the past, like the Interceptor, aka Network Monkey. We've got lots of cool new stuff coming, which is one of the reasons why the episodes are a little shorter recently. Massive dev cycle, very stressful, very exciting. Can't wait to launch cool new awesome stuff. Anyway.
Oh, I should mention too, if you guys have any comments or suggestions for things that you would like to see us carry in the Hack Shop, we're always open to those as well, because we have 4 mines in here, and there's a lot of mines out there. So if we're missing an electronic or some kind of Hak5 swag that you guys want to see us sell, let us know.
Yeah,
we could definitely bring it in.
And at the same time, we should also mention, we've been talking about this software-defined radio stuff. We're talking about free ways to do this now. There's the $20 way to do it with an rtl-sdr. And then our friend Mike Osman, who was just on the show a few weeks ago, he's the developer of the HackRF and the Ubertooth one and the Yardstick one and a couple of LAN taps that are awesome. And so it's just really cool to see how, I don't want to get too much off track, but when I first got into the scene, building boxes, red boxes, blue boxes, things of that nature, that kind of thing is still continuing on in this, and we've got entire lines of hacker hardware from hackers. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty awesome.
So thanks for the comments. What you would like to see on the show can be told to us, where we would read it and make things happen. That was
nice job finishing your own sentence like that.
Yes.
What you would like to see.
What you would like. I'm going to start with the end of the sentence, Yoda-esque, and work backwards.
Sorry, I totally called you out on that.
Can you call us out on the fact that we're off the rails?
We always are.
No, we're not always. You've got 10 years of shows to prove that it's only about 50-50.
There's one episode where he really goes off the rails.
Oh, was this one where I poured
the glass
bourbon?
of wine?
No, it was bourbon.
Oh, was it bourbon?
On my head. There's been so many amazing moments in Hak5.
That was a good one.
And Kirby's been there for all of them, haven't you, girl? Okay. Well, anyway, for myself and the cat butt and Shannon here, thank you for supporting us at hackshop.com. Thank you for following us at hak5.org/follow. Check out all the other shows over on hak5.org. And with that, we're reminding you want to say it, Kirby? You want to say it? She's saying, trust your technolust.
She's like, don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
Do you have food? No? Don't touch me. I'm Shannon Morse.
I'm Darren Kitchen.
Trust your technolist. Wow.